Hay un papá. ¿Cómo se llama el papá?
No.
¿Se llama Beto? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Se llama Fred? ¿Se llama Barney? ¿Se llama Ralph?
No sabemos.
Invéntalo. ¿Cómo se llama? Se llama...
Guadalupe.
Guadalupe.
Ese
Ok.
es el nombre de mujer.
¿Hombre
No,
también?
sí, de los dos.
¿De veras?
Ujú.
Sí.
Ajá. G-U-D. No, pero de...
Guada.
Sí, sí, sé cómo escribir el nombre, pero hay manera de hacerlo cortito, ¿no? Lupe. No,
sí.
pero también, es que, si me acuerdo bien, no era M-A-D-G, ok. I wouldn't have done that in class, don't worry. Se llama Guadalupe, ok, muy bien, hay un papá, se llama Guadalupe. ¿Dónde vive el papá? ¿Dónde vive Guadalupe? ¿Dónde vive Guadalupe? ¿Vive en Portland? No vive en Portland. ¿En dónde vive?
Vive en Perú.
Vive en Perú. ¿Sí? ¿Vive en Perú? ¿Sí?
A ver.
¿Sí?
Sí.
A veces. No va de viaje mucho. Always when traveling.
¿En
No.
Perú? No.
No vive en Perú.
No.
Entonces, ¿en dónde vive el papá? ¿Dónde vive el papá?
En la luna.
Centroamérica.
La luna.
Señora,
El papá
ahí
Guadalupe.
está. Es más fuerte.
Ok.
Ese se corte metal.
Ok. El papá Guadalupe vive en la luna.
Él es lunático.
Ok. El papá, que se llama Guadalupe, vive en la luna. Interesante. ¿Saben qué? Hay un problema. Sí, hay un problema. Hay burbujas.
We gotta get rid of this.
Okidoki. Eso es interesante.
Ese es otro problema.
Sí, ¿verdad?
Yeah. I'll
¿Cómo
just
se-
source search. Switch it to the overhead, the document camera.
Is that
Nope.
F?
No, así.
The document camera.
Oh, on the document camera.
Yeah, just put source and
Oh, okay.
it'll get rid of that. Okay, got it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Vive en la luna. Hay un problema. Clase. Hay un lobo. Hay un lobo en la luna. ¿Tú crees, Chibolita? Hay un lobo en la luna.
No.
Sí, sí lo hay. Porque es posible. Sí.
¿Cómo respire el lobo?
Se nota que usted no es un freshman en el high school de Gresham, ¿eh? Es porque es un lobo mágico, pero no vamos a hablar de eso ahora. Hay un lobo en la luna. ¿Qué color es el lobo? ¿De qué? ¿Dónde está el qué? ¿De qué color es el lobo? ¿Es rojo?
No.
No.
Es transparente.
Es
porque es mágico.
Ok. No le gusta.
¿No?
No.
Como el avión de Wonder Woman.
Yo creo que es muy joven para saber de eso.
Ah, sí.
I actually watched an episode of the Justice League before I came here.
Oh, ok. Well,
Yeah.
siempre no, entonces.
Not the Jetsons?
No, Justice League.
Debe ser los Jetsons.
Yeah, Es porque es muy joven para saber de los
Sí,
Jetsons.
ni lo sabe.
Entonces si no es transparente, ¿de qué color
No
es
puede ser
el lobo?
transparente.
El lobo es transparente, porque es mágico, es un lobo mágico. ¿Y cómo se llama el lobo transparente? ¿Cómo se llama?
Bo.
Bo, ok. Siempre hay unos lobos y todos todos los lobos del mundo se llaman Bob.
Bob.
Bob. No es Bob, se llama Bob. Ok.
Ah, muy bien.
Un lobo. El lobo se llama Bob y es transparente. ¿Ya ves, señora? Transparente, no transparente. Ah, sí, como come. Siempre sí. Ok. Hay un lobo. ¿Saben qué? Al padre no le gustan los lobos. No le gustan.
¿Por qué?
Porque tiene miedo. He's afraid. Tiene miedo de los lobos. Los lobos agarran comida. The wolves eat his food. ¿Cuál?
Miedo.
Miedo, fear of, scared of.
Miedo.
Sí.
Why did you use agarran instead of come? Since that's one of our words.
Oh, I used agarra for her because that's one of the words we practiced beforehand. Yeah, sorry. That's
I
a
didn't know
default word. Okay, so, el lobo come la comida del papá. Come toda la comida. Come el Taco Bell. Come el Domino's. Come el Little Caesars. Come el Wendy's. También
Excelente.
come los goldfish.
Ah, el lobo será diabético.
Ahora sí.
Y grande.
Gordo.
Y gordo. Oh, sí. Y es transparente y gordo.
Gordo.
¿Es posible?
Ok.
Ah, porque no se siente su peso en la luna.
Ah, por eso. Ey. Y es transparente y gordo. Ok, muy bien. Entonces, el papá tiene miedo. Let me grab another color. For Kathy.
And again, she would be having lots of pictures there, like of the lobo or, you
Yeah.
know, and already feeling pictures, she had it scared, you know, or just imitating.
And also, if we don't have that done, I translate it. So there's absolutely no question of what they're looking at. Okay? El papá tiene miedo, is scared of or has fear, del lobo.
In the perfect world, she'd be doing this in Russian,
Yeah, so you wouldn't be going,
something.
really?
I know
Okay.
if I did it in Portuguese, that's too close to Spanish, you'd figure it out, yeah. So
But is there room for, in this, where you get the students to act something out when they say?
So
the-
generally what we do, some of the board teachers, is that you hear the word papa at least 20 to 30 times, right? And my hope is that by the end of the class, after we tell and retell and tell and retell, you've heard it about 100. Same with Yora, same with El Lobo, and same with Come. It would be over and over and over again. And in this group, I wouldn't necessarily have taught La Familia because it's a cognate, and I want to train them to see those immediately.
Did you say you will have told the story 100 times?
No.
Or they will
They will
heard
have heard
those
the
words?
words. The goal is to hear those words at least 100 times before you leave the classroom.
The first day?
Yeah, the first day they see this material. Yeah,
Those first 4 words?
those 4 words. Over and over and over and over. After we do this over and over and over again, I'm surprised by how many of the stories the kids create on their own that end with Yora, Yora, Yora.
Oh, yeah,
Every single time.
into the 4th year.
In the
Seriously,
yeah.
I'm not kidding you. There are certain things that stick with them forever.
And the other thing is that they know what I means. By the end of this, they know I. When we were teaching with traditional methods, that word never showed up as often as it used to, considering how often it's said in
That's right.
real language. Okay, so depending on the day, we may just read this. Sometimes I have them translate it. I know that sounds a lot like grammar translation because it is. It's pretty old school. Until they feel like they've got some control on this, grammar translation is really kind of a way to hold their hand. The good thing about reading it is that they start to see the patterning of the language, right? They start to see that you very rarely have nouns without an article in front of them, which for English speakers is really tough to understand. You start to see where the verb falls in the sentence. You start to
subject.
Yeah, exactly. You start to see that, yeah, you do need accent marks. That is part of how it's written. And so you start to pattern the brain in how it's supposed to look. And they get that pretty quickly. Not that it's 100%, but they start to recognize when things are out of order because they've seen it the right way so many times.
So you're teaching grammar.
Without telling
Without
them.
telling them, without saying a word about it.
I'm not saying anything about the grammar.
So like one example, like a couple
Okay.
sentences, just.
Okay, so, guys, what kind of a family is this? If you look at that first sentence, what kind of a family is it?
Familia rara.
Rara.
Rara. Rara is weird, right? That means weird. It's a familia rara. Yeah, exactly. It's a weird family. Wait a minute. That's different, huh? How do we do it in English?
Rara familia.
Yeah, but that's not what we have here. Interesting. Remember that, okay? Una familia rara. Huh, okay. En la familia hay un papá, un muchacho y un lobo. Yeah. Hey, if I wanted to say a weird wolf, what would I say? Un lobo
Rara.
Verdoso.
rara. Ooh, careful, because lobo ends in an O, and we got to make sure those match. So if it's lobo, it's rar. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So in 3 sentences, we've looked at adjective and subject agreement. We've looked at adjective placement. And I haven't had to tell them what they are because the moment you pull out, at least in my experience, when you start saying adjective,
They
shut down.
Close it down.
Okay? So we'll go over and over those sorts of things. Okay, so how would you say weird dad then? Oh, gotta be careful because remember he's a guy. Those kinds of things. Yeah. So they're patterning with sound. And most of them, not all, but most get the concept. And then when you get further along in the year and they're still doing either like el lobo rara, I'll say, now listen, which sounds right. El lobo raro, el lobo rara, or rara lobo. Which one sounds right? And they'll always pick the first one. They'll always get it right. Yeah.
But they'll always pick the first one, or they'll always get it
No,
right?
they'll always get it right.
Okay.
They'd pick the right example.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they've heard the pattern enough. That makes sense? The book on purpose does a lot of true-false to begin with, so that it keeps the effective filter low. They don't have to stress about what they're looking at. It doesn't freak them out. By the time you get into the 3rd chapter, things get a little bit more difficult. The book will start to ask, and as a teacher, you start to ask the kids to paraphrase instead of give yes or no answers, true, false, that kind of thing. And it becomes gradually more difficult, but it's real slow. And you're never giving them more than 4 words a day. You also couple this with a lot of story writing. So once they have a fair amount of words under their belt, they start writing the stories. and they're called free.